All right, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. All right, well, that was interesting observing the person on the bus. You see the guy with the dreads, yeah, he was on the bus, standing in front of me, sticking his finger in his ear, staring me in my face. I just reading my article, you know, and you gotta just like, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. Like I said, they keep it in the psychological realm. They stare, I stare back. You know what I'm saying? They look down at their shoes, I look down at my shoes. They stare at my head, I look down at their head. Look, again. They always, when they see you, their face go up, fingers in their ears, what have you. And, that's how I play it off at times too, but yeah, I know all their tactics. Anyhow, so they engage in these sort of behavior, which is damn it, I forgot to give Ethan the key. I just remember, Pam, she says to me, what time are you coming? I said, I don't know. She's like, well, I'm going out early. And I'm like, well, how early? I said, don't Ethan have jujitsu in the morning? She's like, yeah. I said, you can't leave Alyssa home by herself. Why not? She can, I left her in the house by herself for 2 hours. Yeah, because I was on the way. And again, that's a chance that you shouldn't take. Why? I said to her, I said, of all the years that we've been together, I never thought you would have this personality. I never thought that you would leave our children by themselves all day and all night while you go out somewhere. With whoever it is that you're going out. And I told her, I said, I can guarantee you that those men you've dated, or this man you dated, if he has kids, all right, I bet you if his baby mother was doing what you were doing, he would say something to her. Particularly if it's a man that loves his kids. Because I tell her, I said, because imagine his child mother dating a woman. Dating that woman. His child mother dating a man in which he knows she has young kids and he's keeping her all day and all night. Huh? Okay? And not once does she even call to check up on her kids, and he don't say to himself, what's going on here? See, look at this shit. Say to keep, they'll... Anyhow. Ridiculous. Anyhow. Right? So I said to her, I said, yeah. I said, can you imagine how he would look upon it? I said, he's and I'm just like, he doesn't have, you see, a lot of men don't have my personality. Right? This is why I'm my brother too. Right? This is why, we just learn about what it is that they've done to us. You know what I'm saying? We could have reacted in ways that was, because of what they were doing in the beginning to us. Say my brother walks, many times he walks into a restaurant, go to the bathroom, they'll send him a transmission, go to the bathroom, and they'll leave magazines with bullets in it. They literally have someone try to sell me a gun. Right? You hear the sirens? Yeah. So you could imagine. Okay, you could if you could only imagine. And like I said, a lot of times when there's like these so-called active shooters, I know there's more behind it. I know these people are being bullied. They're being picked on. Right? Yeah. Your fecal department. Right? They're being bullied. They're being picked on. And again, the only way that they feel that they can defend themselves is to do what they do. And so, when a situation like that, innocent people get hurt, and it goes to show you again how these people get away with doing stuff like this. Okay, how many times they've targeted someone to where that person did self-deletion? Look. It's all black. Look, you waiting over here, the sirens. He starts to walk over there. Look. Tell you. Look, 1, 2, 3. You see? I said 1, 2, 3. All dressed in black. right? I'm saying I know them. I know them so well. I know how they target me. I know them so well, right? But yeah, right. So I mean, can you imagine? Okay, and again, and if we were to go to that extreme, or they've made us to go to that extreme because of the psychological manipulation and emotional manipulation, it would have been like, oh, these two twins, they're crazy. They did this and that, such. And no one would even know what was done to us, right? And this is why I have been for the last decade, because I do not want anybody else to go through this. Because these people, they will create ways in order to select people and experiment on them, and to make it look like it's these people's fault, it's your own fault, and it's not. And it's not. Okay. And if you're saying, if you're for other TIs and say, well, what, you must have did something to deserve this. Well, let me put it this way. And I like to use the reality, because a lot of people, I should say, don't quite think with a realistic mindset, right? So we know that one, children who have been poisoned with lead, majority black children, right, being poisoned with lead. Right, we know what lead does to the mind of a child, or even an adult, or a child that will grow up into an adult. Right, and we see that there's a direct correlation between lead poisoning and those who are people who have been incarcerated, particularly black men. Right, there have been studies. Okay, so again, I'm not saying this is to say, go look at the studies. Okay, because one, lead poisoning, what it does, affects their child cognitive ability, even as an adult, and it's lead you can't get rid of. It stays with you forever. Okay, so if you are an adult having poisoned lead in a child, meaning that your cognitive ability by the time you reach in your 20s is that of a person that is probably in their 40s or 50s. Okay, then also lead poisoning, children who have been poisoned with lead, they have emotional issues. So not only do they have cognitive learning disabilities, but they have emotional issues, right? And again, as a black person, when I look at my target and I study, I understand, it made me understand the bigger picture of how they've been doing this to black people. Right? To look at the system, like with Neo, and when he's able to see the coding, right? When it comes to what it is that they've been doing, all of the warfare that they've created to engage in the black people, to put us at a disadvantage, to destroy our lives and each other's lives. Yeah, I can see that coding. And we operate in it sometimes on a subconscious, most of the time on a subconscious level, but at times on a conscious level. And they know exactly when to engage and to manipulate us on a conscious level. And again, and this is where religion comes in. This is where religion comes in. This is where the authorities comes in. This is where the labeling comes in. This is where the honey trapping comes in. This is where the food poisoning comes in. This is where the illegal drugging comes in. Okay? Because if you are a perp and you've been sent to engage in illegal activity against the TI, for example, drugging them or offering them drugs, because you think that, they're like, like this easy. Some people have that type of personality, right? Me, I don't have that type of personality, right? So it always kills me with my, like my brother. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but he's on the phone. He's like, y'all are followers. I'm like, dude, I was a teenager at the time, right? I was a teenager. See, this is what we as black people don't understand. When you don't teach your young children the truth, when you don't give them the proper guidance, and not religious guidance, but that's bullshit. And this is something that we as black people fail to understand. Okay? Because the vast majority of religious Negropeans, right, they are not actually raising their children in a manner in which will benefit their children. Right? Because again, it's not totally their fault. A lot of them are working. Okay, you live in a home with a single parent. Your mother's working all the time. But they have to understand, and again, this is something like I said, when black women particularly have their nurturing has been severed right? Their nature in terms of being the nurturer, the teachers of their children have been severed, right? So when they're working all the time and they leave their young children at home by themselves, with no adult supervision, no male in the house, they thinking that, okay, well, their children is not going to get in trouble, not going to do this, but they fail to understand the mindset of children, right? And like I said, for black women, particularly in America, the medical industry is one of the biggest employers of black women. Healthcare, right? And you got to take some form of psychology course. I'm talking about, if you're a nurse, if you're a medical assistant, so beside whatever skills you're learning, you have to learn about psychology, right? So when you have women, black, European women who are nurses, take psychology, particularly child developmental psychology, they don't apply it to their children. They will apply it to somebody else's children, right? Because, religious people, they are highly endowed, not my kids. Not my kids, you know what I'm saying? But I always say, what you pour into your kids is what you get back from them. Okay? And if you only pour religion into them, and if you only tell them, get on your knees and pray for what you want, and God will give it to you, you telling that to a young teenager, or even a young adult, who've been doctored in religion, right? And again, this is where the narcissistic mindset comes in, because a lot of these religious people are raising their children to be nice and not good, because they don't know what being good is. They just know what being nice is, right? You know what I'm saying? And then they have the mentality that only God can judge them. That's why you see a lot of our women, particularly black women, walking around saying, only God can judge me. And they'll judge everybody. They'll judge a man. They will judge a man. They will tell a man he's too short, he's ugly, he's fat, he's too broke. Everything, right? But if a man judge them in any way, then you hate women, or you must hate your mama. You know what I'm saying? But that is the mindset, and it has been passed down, and it has gotten worse. But particularly when you're raising boy children, male children, they need an authoritative figure, because male children will test you. That's just part of their nature. Okay? Now again, it doesn't apply to everybody, right? But for most of us, it does. So we tend to, again, this is what we tend to do. We tend to look at the small percentage of black people who are successful, right? And we tend to have this exaggerated outlook on the truth, right? So because we might be in a circle, we may work in a hospital, we might be a nurse, or we might be a doctor, or other doctors. So we have an experience based on our anecdotal experience that we tend to want to view that as the norm, and it's not. But again, this is how they condition us to think. So we ignore the reality and the truth based off our own anecdotal experience. And women do this all the time. And I've seen men starting to do this too now, right? It's primarily women, They'll tell you, oh, my friends, they're making $200-something thousand. Well, how much are your friends is doing that? Oh, 2 of them. Or 3 of them. Or let's say 10 of them. That's a small circle of people. You know what I'm saying? But again, they base that off of their own adult experience, and they try to, push that on everybody else. But it's not. No. You know what I'm saying? That's not the reality. You know what I'm saying? So we are conditioned in ways that we cannot see our true reality. Right? We cannot identify the people in our community who are leaders, who have talent, and to be able to nurture that talent. And very few kids that have talent have people around them that can look and say, hey, this kid got talent. Let me tell you something. Go watch this video on YouTube. I was watching it today of a young prodigy. Young kid, 12 years old. He was born premature. He had to have a feeding tube until he was 8 years old. Okay? He's on the autistic spectrum. But this young kid is like a grown adult in terms of his persona in a 12-year-old body. He taught himself piano. And he has perfect pitch, meaning that whatever music he hears, he can play on the piano. He don't have to take no. He can listen to a song without the piano, and he can do every key as if he listened to the piano arrangement of that song, right? So somebody gifted him a $10,000 grand piano. And you know who that person was? You know who that person was? Look at the iPads. That's Interfaith, hospital, Yeah, I tell you, they do that from time to time. So, you know who gifted him that piano? It was a white man who has a music shop, right? And I always say, like I said, I give credit where credit is due. I always say, not all white people are racist. Okay? And we've noticed there have been white people who fought to abolish slavery. There have been white people who during the Reconstruction period fought to protect black people, right? But there are too few of them, right? And so the fact that a white man would do that. Now, what happened to all the black athletes, right? Because this guy was this kid was on the news. He was on the Kelly Clarkson show. Not one black person who are of well means, right? Or who even reached out to this man and his family and to say, hey, you know what? You have a very gifted son. Let me be a mentor, or let me help him financially, and let me help you guys out. But a white person do that. And sometimes, like I said, you gotta be very careful what white people will do. Okay, when white people will do certain things, or do some things that I consider that a good deed. But you gotta understand that a lot of times they will do things for a reason. Okay, they will do things for a reason, and particularly when that child grows up, who do you think he is going to remember who gifted him that piano? It wasn't a black person, it was a white person. So I want you to understand that white people, there's that, because again, they're very manipulative, and I'm not saying that this person was, okay, but I'm very manipulative, that they'll do things in order to obtain the loyalty, right, of a black person who they see have talent, right, and again, do it for a specific reason, right? And again, I'm not saying that this person is like that. At least I don't believe he is. At least actually I don't believe. I don't think he is. Right? He's literally seen genuine helping this young child prodigy out. But it was amazing to watch this kid. It was amazing. And sometimes we look at autistic people as them being at a huge disadvantage, and some of them are. But let me tell you, how their brain work, even though they can't regulate their emotions, but some of them are amazing when it comes to anything that has to deal with technical skills, right? Math, engineering, music. A lot of them have a heightened creative ability, right? And a creative sense, okay? So they may not be able to, feel and regulate the emotions like we do. And again, I'm just, for the most part, I tell you, as black people, we can't even regulate our emotions, because the amount of things that have been done to us, from the food poisoning, from the environmental poisoning, from, like I talk about the lead poisoning, air pollution, all this stuff, right? The trauma of police brutality, the trauma of racism that we go through every single day, okay? Like I say, let a white person walk and call you a nigga and see how you flipped off. They'll literally trigger you to the point where you're attacking that person, you end up in jail. White people used to do that just so they can throw our asses in jail and charge you with assault. Okay? So again, you gotta understand it. Also, I posted another story of you have a police officer, two police officers, stopped a man who they said, well, I believe that you're drunk. Now, this man is not drunk at all. He said, when was the last time you had a drink? He said, like, it was over 2 hours? Yes, it was over 2 hours. Well, I believe that, that you're drunk and that you're high on weed. I'm like, saying to myself, How do they, you know, not how, but, you know, it's like they come up with some of the most stupidest shit to arrest black people, particularly black men. Okay? And literally, you know, the guy took you know, what was it? I think I'm not sure he took a breathalyzer test or what have you, but he said, listen, I'm not drunk, I don't smoke weed. And you see the cop goes to the other cop, go into his vehicle, looking for drugs to plant on this guy, and saying to him, and they remember, no, their body camera is rolling, okay? You know, I had something here, and you know, I can't find it, you know, but if I did, I would definitely put it on him. And the other guy was like, so he said, you know, he said, you want to take him in? And they were like, yes, we'll take him in. Arrested this guy for not being drunk. Went to the hospital, took a blood test, which he said, okay, go give me a blood test. Found out that, guess what? He wasn't drunk, right? And they had this guy, they tried to prosecute this guy for an entire year, knowing that he had no alcohol or no drugs in his system, okay? So again, we talk about the prosecutors and how racist they are too, and how they withhold evidence, right? How they withhold evidence that can free innocent people, particularly innocent black men, and they don't do that, right? Because again, we tend to not truly understand the seriousness of white supremacy. And like I said, you know, there's too many of my brothers and sisters that are incarcerated, and so I refuse to degrade and talk down on black men and women who have been in the penal institution. I refuse to do that. Okay? When you know what the true nature of racism and white supremacy, particularly in America, and how this system is used against us in every single way, and how they've created technologies to manipulate our minds, to make us highly emotional when they want to, and highly docile and non-emotional when they want to. Okay? But a lot of us don't want to believe it because, again, we're not technical people. We are not people of high knowledge like we used to be. Some of us are. And those of us who are, they use those people for their benefit. They use them for their benefit, not for our benefit. Use them for their benefit. Right? And this is nothing new. Go back to Tuskegee experiment. Right? Go to, you know, the Philadelphia experiment, right? Or you know, when the U.S. was developing the atomic bomb, and you had a black scientist who was working with them, who was intricate in terms of developing that weapon. Okay, and they had him handle radioactive material without any protection, without any suits or any protective gear. Okay, and he died of radiation poisoning. Okay, all those black men who they were injecting radiation in the hospital and telling them, oh, your test is fine and this and that. This is the history of these people, and they continue to do it today. I talk about the lead poisoning, which is warfare against black people, black kids in particular, who will grow up to be young black adults. Right? How was it that New York City every single year, thousands of black children get poisoned with lead? Okay? How is it that you have black people and Hispanic people living in housing project that's built on toxic land and they're not doing anything about it? Okay? That they waited like 10 years, we're going to do a 10-year study. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they never give you the full number of children. They just pick a certain age bracket, and that's all they report on. But they don't report on the younger kids in the house and the older kids living in those apartments. In the same apartment in which those kids between the age of 4 and 7 are poisoned with lead, when they have older siblings who were, you know, maybe teenagers, maybe 10 years old, what have you. Why is it that they don't include them in that number? You got to think. You have to think. So instead of over 10,000, it could be 50,000. That's 50,000 children who are not diagnosed with being poisoned with lead, but who have been poisoned with lead, who are going through emotional issues, behavioral issues, who may end up in prison because of that. right? See, we are not looking. See, as we as black people, like I said, we are not looking at it because they have removed any and every black person. Well, not every black person, but any black person who truly care and may have any means or position to do something, and they watch you. They watch you and they will get rid of you. It's like that lawyer. You know, that lawyer who was defending the NYPD. He ever come up for his job. And again, he was defending it. But because somebody else wanted his job, and look what happened. After what happened to him, what did the law firm say? They told him he needed to resign. Not even give him a chance to see how the case would end, right? And of course they end up dropping the charges because of the video cameras and stuff like that. That's the, you know. So again, that just goes to show you, they wanted him out of that position, and they, whenever the opportunity arises, they will take it. They will not hesitate. Okay, but we tend to, like I said, we tend to be believers and believe that they're good. Like I said, I just don't understand it. You know, it's like they show us every single day how they really feel about us, right? But because, you know, we work with them and, you know, they're gentrifying our community and displacing us, right? We get happy, and then, you know, 2-3 years down the line, you move because you can no longer afford to be there. And the only reason why they renovate your apartment building is because white people are moving in, right? And you only get a temporary benefit of living in an apartment building that has been renovated, that you now have clean water, because, you know, the first thing that they'll do is what? Dig up the streets and change the water pipes. Okay? And you don't think they're not doing this for a reason? If you live in Brooklyn, and you remember, if you live in Brooklyn, you understand when there's apartments that was apartment building that was you know, occupied mostly by Jewish people. They had the nicest looking building, well taken care of. They always digging up the street in front of the building and replacing the pipes. Okay? If you living in a building that's predominantly black people, you know, you'd be lucky if they come and fix your sink. Right? And a lot of times it's because a lot of the renters were black women with kids. And they don't want to confront the landlord, right? Out of the fear that, you know, they may lose that apartment that they rented. So they take advantage of the fact that, yeah, this black woman alone by themselves with their kids with no man in the house. They know exactly what they're doing. Like I said, black men, and particularly black women, need to become smarter. They need to open up their eyes and really see what's going on. All right? Anyhow, I'll talk to you guys in this video. Like, why didn't your predator department use an savage that she come walking by here? You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, there's something else, man. Like I said, I can always spot the honey traps. Let me tell you, I always spot the honey traps. And sometimes they get mad if I don't talk to one of them. And then sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, well, let's see if he's looking." Of course, I'm gonna look. If she's a thick black woman. Why? You know, I'm a man. Look. It's all for show. It's all show. It's all, you know. That's a noise campaign. That's all it is. I mean, New York Predator Department using the sirens in the background, but it's very, very low. So, like I said, so they gotta attack you in some way, right? So whether it be, you know, ambulance, fire trucks, or what have you, they start to use the cars. So I talked about this, like I said, exposing what it is that they do. See? So, anyhow. Look. Got him. Talk to you guys in the next video.